Okay. All right. On behalf of Adult Ed and Sisterhood, I'd like to welcome everybody today. Thank you for coming to our joint program. And today we're going to be crowdsourcing Pesach, which means we'll be sharing some information on things like where to shop for Passover foods, what our Seder traditions are, things that we like to cook for Passover, things like that. And more specifically, here's what's on tap this morning. Some of us here have already done some Passover shopping at several areas supermarkets, and so they will share what they have found in the stores. What's in stock, what's not, what special items each of these supermarkets may have, that kind of thing. We'll talk about some Passover foods that we like to make. We'll share some of our Passover traditions. For instance, maybe some different Haggadahs or Haggadot that we use, other family customs that we have. And finally, Phyllis Schachter will demonstrate how to make a Passover charcuterie board. So lots of good things in store. Many of them seem to revolve around food. I can't imagine why. But we're going to start first with doing some Passover shopping and what's around at several local markets. So the people who have done some shopping, and whoever wants to volunteer can go first. I think Phyllis, Shelley, Colleen, and me. And I don't know, I hope I haven't missed anyone, but I'll take a volunteer.
I have some experience too.
Joan, okay, you've got.
Now go ahead, and I'll fill in if mine is different than anyone's.
Okay, so we'll keep you in reserve. Anyone else who would like to go first?
Hey, you know.
Okay.
All right. Now, the thing I filled out the that spreadsheet that I was sent, but you know what? I didn't make myself a copy of it, but I have my notes here that I shop with. So my assignment was to go to ShopRite in Northeast Philadelphia on Roosevelt Boulevard. That happens to be my old neighborhood until about 6 years ago, and it was my my main place to shop. And I can't really compare to anything, but that store has a large kosher department all the time. And right now it is stocked totally with Passover items. What I found, and I guess it's a sign of the times, the store used to have a couple of middle aisles, regular aisles of the store that also had Passover items, and that is no more. So I guess they've condensed a little, but they had this. I shopped last Tuesday because it's senior discount 5% day. So I took advantage of that. And everything that was on the list was available at that store. Several varieties of 5-pound matzah. I personally always like Yehuda matzah. They had that in good supply. And again, this was last Tuesday. As it gets closer to Pesach, you're going to find, I think, that some items might be sold out. Other kinds of if you need other varieties of matzah, whole wheat, rye, ancient grains, they had egg matzah, egg white matzah. They had various single boxes of different flavors as well. Lots of matzah meal, cake meal. Many, they don't have a fresh bakery department, but lots of packaged baked goods. If you're doing your own, I hear a lot of feedback. I don't know if it's me but if you like, if you're not speaking, if you're not presenting, maybe you could mute yourself, ladies, because there is a lot of feedback. If you like to bake, they have a lot of baking ingredients like cocoa powder, chocolate chips, extracts, brown sugar, confectioner's sugar, in addition to boxed cake mixes. If you're looking for various kinds of sauces, pasta sauces, or different kinds of breading. I'll put that in quotes. Crumb mixtures to cook foods with. That was in big supply. Lots of canned fruits, vegetables, condiments, even stuff like soap and detergents. Well, I guess that kind of sums it up. At least as of last Tuesday, you would have a pretty easy time finding what you needed there. Okay, Phyllis.
Go. Okay, so I went to the House of Kosher in the Northeast, and they pretty much changed most of the store over for Passover. Everything's marked, not kosher for Passover, or kosher for Passover. I think ShopRite does the same thing. But I was able to find everything on my list at House of Kosher. I'm still going to be going to ShopRite because there's some things I always buy at ShopRite, like my matzah, because usually if you spend over $75, you get free matzah or matzah at a discount. So I usually, believe it or not, we stock up with about 15 pounds of matzah in this house. The other thing that I did not find so much of at House of Kosher that I have to go to ShopRite for is I need gluten-free products for people at my Seder. So they have gluten-free matzah meal, gluten-free cake meal, breadcrumbs, all those things that I need to, so I don't have anybody getting sick at my Seder. And I also get things like almond flour and coconut flour because I do all my baking. So I started subbing all those types of flours in instead of using matzah meal and cake meal because I think it just tastes much better and less Pesach. So they have all of that. I did not see that gluten-free stuff in House of Kosher, so that's why I'm going to go to ShopRite, see if I can find it there. I'm going to go to Cherry Hill because that's the one where I usually get all my Passover items. I love that one. I've been to Princeton, I've been to the Boulevard, they all have great products. I just love shopping around the Princeton area because they also have a kosher wine store also. So I just do it's like one-stop shopping for me because I get all my kosher wine there. They have the sacramental wine. And I also love, they have really good baked items there as well, and frozen things, which I always have to get frozen fruit and frozen vegetables and things like that to get through the whole week. Because for me, it's not just about the Seders. We never leave the house for a week. So, it was always about lunches for Larry to bring to work and things like that. And I'm only making one Seder this year, but I have probably about 28 people coming to that one. So have to really get some extra food this year. So that was it. So I highly recommend going to House of Kosher. They have great meat there also if you're looking for meat. And they cut anything to order. If you say, I want steaks or I want, just a first cut brisket, this many pounds, they're pretty good at accommodating. And that's pretty much it. Charlotte, I can't hear you.
Okay,
Charlotte, you're on.
you're saying, it's interesting you're saying about the gluten-free not being able to find it. My nephew works there. He's one of the managers, and I will just check it out with him to see, whether that's something they slipped up on, or maybe you just didn't find it.
It could be.
But I'll pass the word along.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Phyllis. That was very helpful, and I learned some things I didn't know. So I'll have to check out the House of Kosher for sure. Helene.
I went to ShopRite in Yardley and also to Whole Foods in Princeton. So ShopRite in Yardley, I went twice. Both times they have a good supply of the multiple packs of the standard matzah. The first time I went, they were all out of the small packages of the standard matzah, although they had a good number of the varietal kinds. They have bran and whole wheat and gluten-free and things like that. The second time I went, they had more of the smaller packages, but it's still the shelves weren't full. Also, both times I went, they were all out of matzah farfel, although there's a place for it on the shelf. So clearly they're stocking it. Apparently they're just running out of it. They had lots of matzah meal. They had lots of cake meal. They had like 3 boxes left of soup and matzo ball mix. They had a million different cake mixes, lots and lots of different flavors of cake mixes, but no pre-made cakes. So you'd have to make your own if that's what you want to do. They had lots of, every flavor you can imagine of macaroon was there. They had no hard candy at all. And for me, I have some relatives who are diabetic, and I really am looking for hard candy that's sugar-free, and every year they have that, but this year I couldn't find it. Anyway, but you know, they had a good variety of things, so you could get what you need at ShopRite of Yardley at this point. At Whole Foods, I really didn't expect to find anything. I was surprised. They have a small end cap that's at the back of the store facing the dairy aisles. You have to actually look for it, but it's there. But it was full, and they said that they restock it every day. They had lots and lots of gluten-free items. So if there's something that you need that's sort of out of the ordinary, gluten-free, that's there. And of course, they have all the alternative flours and things like that there. So it's a good place to shop if you're kind of stuck for something like that and can't find it anyplace else. They had Manischewitz things. They had Kedem juices. They had Strites, matzahs, and they had macaroni. They had gluten-free macaroni, which I was floored. I had never seen that before, but they had that. So that's what they had.
Thank you, Helene. So again, it's kind of neat to learn of a new place like Whole Foods that seems to have some interesting products there, and just kind of widens the repertoire. So I went to the Giant in Southampton, Pennsylvania. I live in Holland, and this is the Giant that is at 466 2nd Street Pike in Southampton. It's about a half mile from Goldstein's Funeral Home, just to give people an idea if they're not familiar with the area. They typically have, I would say it's one aisle, so one side. It's not an aisle where you can see things on either side. It's an open aisle near their produce section. And there are certain things that they are better stocked for, certain things that they're not. One thing I noticed is that they have a variety of gluten-free offerings. So for folks who are looking for that, this is a place to consider going. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about what specifically I found that was gluten-free. They're pretty well stocked with things like matzah farfel, matzah meal, matzah cake meal, potato starch. And in past years, if I've needed some of these items in the middle of Passover, I've been able to go back there and fill in. So, it's good to know. They may not have as wide a selection as other stores people have mentioned, but pre-pandemic, at least, I've been able to fill in with items like that. So in a little more detail, I noticed they had several brands of the 5-pound boxes of matzah. I think Manischewitz, Yehuda, they had a couple other brands. The single boxes, so if you don't need a 5-pound box or you just want to supplement and get a single box, they have, again, various flavors. They have egg, they have no salt, they have thin tea matzahs, they have gluten-free, and they have wheat. So there's many different types of matzah, whether you need a big 5-pound box or a single box. Tam Tams, if you like the matzah crackers, they've got original garlic and everything. Again, matzah meal, matzah cake meal, they were pretty well stocked with that. Several brands of matzah farfel. I saw gluten-free matzah meal and gluten-free matzah. Potato starch, they had pretty well stocked. Matzah ball mix, maybe a little more limited quantities, but I saw Manischewitz and Straits. They do have some of the Passover cake mix, mostly Manischewitz, and I think I saw about 5 or 6 different types. But again, limited quantities, but several types of the Manischewitz cake mix. I saw a small quantity of packaged baked goods, like a round cake about this round, gluten-free. So I saw a gluten-free packaged, some gluten-free packaged baked goods. Very limited quantities of tomato sauce, as well as jellies and jams. I saw some Passover noodles. They do have a small quantity of gefilte fish and sardines. I do know I saw hard candy and chocolate candy. I don't know whether they were diabetic candies or not, but they did have some of those. Kedem grape juice, I saw a 64-ounce and 8-ounce. Small quantity of apple juice. One kind of Passover cereal, Crispy O's, and a very limited quantity of that. So if you're looking for cereal, I'd probably say go someplace else. But they had some chips and some cookies. The other thing I saw that was gluten-free was macaroons. Besides the Manischewitz and Straits, there was another brand of gluten-free macaroons. I can't remember who they were. So, again, I think they're more well-stocked with some of the basic matzah products, and smaller quantities of other things. And the gluten-free, that also struck me. And the last thing that I noticed they had was a free cookbook. It is called the Passover Cookbook from kosher.com, which again, you might be able to get the recipes there as well, but they also have some coupons in the back of the booklet. Some of them are for Yehuda products, and some of them are for Manischewitz products. There's about half a dozen coupons in the back of this free cookbook. So I've never seen that there before. So it said free and I took it, and coupons too. So, again, a smaller quantities there, but the gluten-free struck me. And as I said, if you, from my experience in past years, if you need to fill in mid-Passover for the matzah meal and cake mix or flour or not flour, matzah cake meal, farfel, things like that, they usually do have that mid-holiday. So just kind of one of those nice to know things. Joan, I think you said you might have some comments as well on places you've been or some thoughts.
Basically, I would say don't bother going locally. I had a long conversation with the manager at McCaffrey's, and they just don't have anything. They do have gluten-free matzah meal, because I was looking for regular matzah meal. I went to 3 places. I finally found jumbo boxes at the ShopRite here in Yardley. But I was at McCaffrey's, ShopRite, and Giant. And Giant and McCaffrey's basically have nothing. They have so little. And what the manager was saying is they keep asking customers keep asking them for things. They keep calling the companies. The companies are very short, and they're getting everything in drips and drabs. She also shared that they had to send their orders in a year in advance. I wonder if during COVID they didn't order as much. That's just my surmising. I don't know, but they're very sparse. That's it.
Well, and thank you. I guess I haven't, that ordering in advance certainly is interesting.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand that. But I guess, depending on what local is to you and where you need to go or how far away you need to go.
No, the other places are much better. The other places you've mentioned are much better, but just stopping in locally, it wasn't even worth it. I mean,
okay,
I couldn't get anywhere near what you used to be able to get there.
Wow. Well, things change, and could be pandemic wise and what they think they need to order and quantities.
Right.
I guess that's why it's helpful to share all of this.
Yeah.
Because, Joan, as you said, if you're live close to Yardley and you're finding out that maybe other than Yardley ShopRite, there's, you just can't go where you used to go, then it's good to know where all these other places are.
Right. The manager at Giant apologized to me. She said there's nothing she can do.
Well, I just want to say thank you for everyone who took that little shopping list and went looking, because I think this is really helpful. And I think probably a lot of us found out about places we didn't know about or wouldn't think of going. So thank you. I guess next, speaking of food, since we were all talking about where we went to get things, does anyone want to share about anything in particular that they like to cook, like to make, a family tradition, whether it was from, your parents or grandparents, something you make, something other members in your family always bring to your Seder. If anyone would like to share that, we'd like to hear about it. Probably make us all hungry, but we'd like to hear about it.
I'll share something.
Okay, Barbara, thank you.
So I don't know if you know this, but I am Syrian. My grandparents are from Aleppo. And so we have a lot of customs that we hold still at our Seders. And one of them is making haroset. Now there's the Ashkenazi haroset, which is the apples, walnuts, and the wine. And then there's the Sephardic Syrian haroset, which is dates and nuts. And something called ut, which you make with like prunes, and it's a whole big thing. I don't do that anymore. My mother used to do the ut. I don't do that. I just mash dates, cloves of, cloves, crushed cloves, some wine, and it is like a hit every year. They look for that. I make like mounds of it. It's not the most attractive looking, food on the table, but it is delicious, and you could spread it on anything like vegetables or just matzah. And it's just one of those things that we like to do. And I also then over the years, depending on how ambitious I feel, I also make other haroset from like around the world or different states, because there's many different kinds of haroset, like an avocado one, like a California one, or something from Ethiopia. So I just like to experiment with different ones every year, but definitely the Ashkenazi is sitting on the table and the Syrian haroset's always on the table. So that's one of my traditions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Phyllis.
Okay, so one of the, so in terms of the Seder for the green vegetable, so we have a lot of different things on our table because so many Schacters. So I grew up, we always had celery on our table. My sister-in-law Bonnie grew up with scallions, and my other sister-in-law Michelle grew up eating potatoes. So we have everything on the table, and I will tell you, having grown up with the celery and Bonnie growing up with the parsley, and Larry actually grew up with parsley too, the potatoes are fabulous. So Michelle will boil them, peel them, boil them in like salted water, and she puts them on the table. And through the whole Seder, we are just eating potatoes and it's delicious. And I think it came out of, different traditions from, Eastern Europe, what you had. And if you didn't have parsley or lettuce or something green, you had a potato. So it's actually become a really nice tradition that we all have these different vegetables on the table for our Seder, and we love doing it.
Thank you, Phyllis. Helene, I think you had mentioned previously you have maybe some fun facts and things you wanted to share with us.
I do. So it's going to be like a poll. I'm going to show you some fun facts. And okay, which city hosts the world's largest Passover Seder? Brooklyn, Kathmandu, Skokie, Jerusalem.
Brooklyn and Jerusalem are too easy.
I say Skokie.
Yeah.
And the answer is
Kathmandu.
Kathmandu. And why? Because in Israel, just before Passover, apparently the young people finish their military service. When they get off their military service, they want to go on vacation. So they go to Nepal. And while they're there, Chabad figured out that there's this big influx of people right around Passover time. So Chabad hosts a Seder. At this point, it's well over 1,000 people come to the Seder. But stay tuned. This may change because the Thailand Chabad has taken up the challenge, and they've decided to try to have an even bigger Seder. So far, they haven't managed to match the 1,000 people Seder, but they're working on it.
So Helene, with that, even with the, I guess a lot of the population being the Israeli soldiers, if people are looking to do a little bit of an exotic Passover, they should look
Absolutely.
to these places if you can feel you can take off all that time from work or be able to go for that long of a time. It certainly sounds like an exotic Passover.
It is indeed. And what I would really like is to have all that heavy food in a high altitude place. I mean, it just sounds like perfection to me.
And somebody else cooks.
Somebody else does cook, Chabad cooks. Apparently they start weeks in advance.
Oh, well, I didn't really think that this might be something where we can say, gee, where can we go for our Seders? Thank you.
Another one? I can give you another one.
Sure.
I think, yes. How heavy was the world's largest matzo ball? 1365, 267, or 310 pounds?
How about 267?
Good guess. 267 on the dot. Apparently, they did this in New York City in 2009. They had some kind of a Maccabiad that was hosted in Israel, but New York City was honoring it, and the two were partnering in some way. So in honor of that, they had a matzo ball cooking contest, and a chef named Anthony Silvestri made one that was 267 pounds. Nobody said what it tasted like. Couldn't find out. Okay, I'll stop sharing now, but when you're ready, I have two more.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'd be curious to know how that actually turned out, how it tasted. But
The question is, did it float?
that's even more important.
And where would they float it? If you see it down the East River, I don't know.
Okay. Anyone have anything else that they would like to share? Besides,
Charlotte has something.
oh, go ahead.
Okay, I just brought it up on my phone, and in case anybody's interested in going to something chaotic today. The House of Kosher is having a pre-Pesach Sunday fun day between 1 and 6. If you want to go for face painting, you can. And they're doing a wine thing. Apparently, they're starting to carry wine. And so there's a little ad for it. I don't know how well or not you can see. If anybody's interested, I can forward this to you. So that's going on. Speaking of House of Kosher, I did text my nephew to see if he answered me back, but I guess just about the gluten-free stuff, and I haven't heard. So I'm assuming that it's a little bit crazy down there today.
I also went there like 2 weeks ago, so I'm sure they are, I was at the beginning of when they were stocking everything. So I'm sure there's much more stuff out, because last week I actually went to Lakewood and they had nothing out yet because they were still focusing on the end of Purim. So I'm sure people are really starting to put out all the good stuff now.
Yeah.
Another thing, maybe.
Yeah. Charlotte.
I'm sorry, one other thing, and I was very frustrated. I got on the phone this morning with ShopRite, because there's no way to go into their website to order online or pickup or delivery for a Passover section. And there's nothing under kosher. I couldn't find anything under kosher experience. So anybody finds anything, please let me know, because according to the guy, he said he didn't know of any way. I thought last year or the year before, maybe something did have maybe I'm wondering if maybe it was Lawrenceville, because I tried ShopRite in the Northeast, and they're set up slightly differently for each ShopRite. So, but has anybody tried going online for that by any chance? You know what I would appreciate though? Maybe you could send me the list of the shopping list, so at least it'll help me go in and pick out kinds of things that I would that I would need? If
I'll
could
send you
share
that,
would be
Charlotte.
great. Thank you.
I've done Wegmans Instacart. And you have a shopper. So if they don't have anything online, she will call you or he will call you and they will pick it up for you. So there is a fee for Instacart, but if you really need it, that's what's great about it. And Wegmans has a huge Passover section this year.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Where is Wegmans?
Well, it's on 611 in Warrington.
Oh,
But-
okay, yeah, I knew.
But for me, it's close.
Mhm.
You know, my business is right there. So it's an after work thing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I kind of knew there was one up that way. I passed it but never got, and I was just thinking maybe there's another one, but thanks. You know, sometimes we have to go out of the way or
That's
just
right.
plan a trip.
But it's worth going. There was a huge section. There was a huge section.
I just think this is really great, just hearing that there are all of these different places, especially because there are places that are, you know, close or far from from us, where no matter where we live. And I think this is just really neat to know about all these places. Marcia.
I had a question. I think Charlotte mentioned it, but all the girls had individual assignments. Can you put it together on a spreadsheet? Like just highlight, you know, good matzahs, gluten-free in each place. That would be good. And then I'll file it and keep it like for next year in case, well, I don't shop for myself, but my son will go out and he goes all over the place. But I just have to find out. So, I mean, that Wegmans was a good point. So can you ladies put together the spreadsheet, like send it, if you want to send it to me, you could, or to Charlotte, or I don't know, I'm just asking. Even if you have handwritten notes, if you can take a picture of it and send it, would be great.
Well, I know for what I did, I can kind of type up a little summary that says, you know, what were the pluses and minuses of where I've been,
Right.
and what, you know, what they have. I don't know if other people.
I'll send
Maybe-
mine. I'll send mine to you, Arlene.
Okay, that sounds good, because I was thinking maybe we could just put it together if we had the same comments, like store, good, like if we did the matzahs, and then big supply, but you'd have to check because stores run out within an hour, so you never really know, but that would be good.
I thank you for the thought. And Barbara, I think you have something that you want to say that can help us with this.
I think so. So the plan was to put some of this information up on our website under our Passover resources. So you would have to visit the website and then just you'd click on it and it would be like a PDF and you would have everything at your disposal.
Oh,
So
okay, that
Just give
sounds great.
me time to get it up there, please.
Okay, thanks, Barbara, that sounds great.
Okay, so would it be easier, Barbara, if those of us who have done the shopping can send you, even in an email, some kind of summary or list of information about what we found at the different supermarkets, that you would then put it, and then you would be the point person?
Yes, just send it to me, whatever you have in an email or PDF or Microsoft, you know, like a document or whatever, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. That will be very helpful. And I think that I'm glad you made that point, Marcia. And I think, Barbara, you know, that just makes things helpful to everyone, and, you know, that we can share with one another and with everyone else in the congregation as well. So, you know, could be a new Passover tradition, sharing all these resources. I guess the other thing about, speaking of Passover traditions that we had mentioned in our little flyer and things that people might want to share, maybe some other traditions that you might have, not necessarily around food, but you know, one of the things is maybe finding different Haggadahs. Sometimes people, you know, maybe their parents do the Seder and now they do the Seder, and the Haggadahs might be different. Maybe there are different customs based on whether you're Sephardic or Ashkenazic that you would like to share. So I think we just wanted to open it up for anyone who might want to share anything like that, whether it's Haggadot or other family or personal traditions. Okay, Phyllis.
All right, I brought mine with me. So we use one that probably people have seen this one before. So we've tried a lot of them and we always come back to this one. And we pretty much know it by heart at this point. And we, with 20 people at a Seder, it goes pretty quickly. We just read the whole Haggadah. Some of us, we make our kids read in Hebrew because we're mean. And, but we have a lot of fun with this one. There's a lot of, I guess, older English. It's not, I wouldn't say it's very current, but I love the fact that we've been using this one for like 30 years. And recently I purchased the bigger version because I can't see it anymore. So this has, you can see the bigger print. So I have a couple of these for the older folks like me that come to my Seder, but we love this one so much. We've tried, we were talking earlier about the, we started out with the Maxwell House, the free one that they used to give out. So we used those for years and didn't care if it spilled wine on it, and we would just, get new ones the following year. But we've really loved this one, the whole family, and we've stuck to this one for years.
Thank you. Kind of talk about tradition. That really is a beloved one in your family. Anyone else? Ruth.
I have a question just in general for everybody out of curiosity, and that is whether you conduct or whoever is the leader of the Seder, is it mostly Hebrew, mostly English, combination? I'm just curious what different people, what their customs are at the, at the Seder table.
Yeah, Carol.
Well, Ruth, when we go around and read the story of, we do that in English, but the prayers and the four questions we do in Hebrew. So that's how we do it.
Okay.
In my house or my family, my sister is 6 years younger than I am. And when it is all my small family, when it is all adults, my sister asks every year, I want to rent a child, because she always has to do the 4 questions. And she's in her 50s and she's still doing them. And that is her tradition every year. Can we rent a child? Or if we are invited to some close friends of ours who are like family, and they've had younger children, my sister has been very pleased because someone else gets to ask it and she doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that we've done to make it a little bit more interesting for the little kids is that the second part of the Seder, we do it traditionally, and then we have an addendum to the Haggadah. And it's all kids songs, and it's all funny songs and silly songs. And it can go on for at least another hour because they're having fun. And that's what we want them to remember, that they had fun at the Seder.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely, because sometimes kids have memories of falling asleep at the Seders.
In the past, they've done little skits, they've done little plays. My daughter Kara published this Haggadah maybe 15 years ago. I have 20 copies of it, and we just hand it out. And it's still going on because now my grandchildren are doing it. So it's great. It's great.
That's neat. The Flash Family Haggadah. Phyllis.
I also, when my kids were little, and we always had I had like a crafting table for them, where there was like different types of, like, they could draw, and like, I know, like in the gift shop, we saw all kinds of little like afikomen bags or plague bags and little things that are like, you can be interactive, throughout when they call out the plagues. So yeah, I always had little things for them to do on the side to keep them busy. And you know, it was always, nothing happened the way I wanted it to happen when they were little. So you just have to kind of go with the flow, and it is what it is. But yeah, but I still have like little things that they made, and I put them on the table, like the Seder plates they made and the puppets they made or whatever they did. So it's good to keep them busy.
Yes, Barbara. You're muted. You're muted,
I said-
Barbara.
I'm not muted now, right?
Right.
Passover is a great holiday because everything is wrapped around tradition, you know, so it's just endless. And I do a lot of different things for the Seder, but two of the things that we do all stem from my Sephardic background. And one of them is how, you know, how you put the matzah in the covers, the 3 matzahs. And what we do traditionally is we take the matzah and we put it around, you know, take the whole bag and we put it on our left shoulder, and we actually recite in Hebrew, and we make every person recite it in Hebrew. And then we always ask, you know, where are you coming from? Where are you going? And it's become this thing, because it's really supposed to be like, where you come from? Well, Egypt. Where are you going? Israel. Well, it's become this joke where people, if they happen to be going somewhere on a vacation, they're like, well, we're going to like Florida, or we're going to like the Bahamas. And it's become this like joke. And so we do that. That's one of them. And the other thing is from the Maxwell house. We just, you know, we use this. We started using this when our kids were young, because it's very kid friendly, and it just morphed, and we just add things, you know, as the kids got older. But we kept something traditionally from the Maxwell house. This is from Maxwell house. And it was something my father did when he was a kid. He's one of 13 children. So it was like a madhouse there. It was like, I remember as a kid. So one of the things that he used to do when he was leading the services, there's a blessing. It's for breaking the undermost matzah and distributing it to everybody. And you have to say the blessing, you know, in Hebrew or English, whatever. But he always did it in Hebrew, and he has a Brooklyn accent with a little, you know, twinge of like Arabic, you know, style. So it's kind of fun to hear. And it's and when he gets to the end is like al matzah umromim yahu lulu, and we just go out into like, and everybody's howling, and it becomes this thing, and you're dipping all the food in the haroset, of course. And it's just one of those things that if you don't do it, people get very upset. And you have to do it. You can't break from tradition, as you probably all know.
Thank you. Liz.
So at the very end of the Seder is the Haggadah. And we started when the kids were really little. We have these masks, you know, of the butcher and the cat and everything, and we give them out. And my dad is always the Holy One, we have to make the sounds. So if you're the cat, you have to meow. If you're the butcher, you go, and it's the very last thing you do. So actually, people want to stay for it. And, you know, even when the kids are getting tired, can we do the masks? Can we do the masks? All they want to do is the masks, and they love it. And it really, it makes the second half of the Seder after dinner kind of exciting, because everyone is just waiting for the masks. And since I'm the one who always gives them out, they want to see who I give the angel of death to. But don't get on my bad side during the Seder, or you're going to be the angel of death.
That is pretty neat.
Wow.
That's cool.
Okay. If anyone else have anything? If not, then I think Phyllis, you're on for the charcuterie board.
You're muted, Phyllis.
Phyllis, you're muted.
Okay, all right, sorry. Okay.
Do you need
Actually,
a few minutes to get ready, or?
No. I mean, I already actually pre-cooked everything. So, what I have tons of cookbooks I use, and one of the ones I'm using today is from the Passover by Design. Does anybody have this book? I love this book. It's a compilation of a lot of Susie Fishbein recipes from the Kosher Palette, Kosher by Design. all her different recipes that a lot of them she made Passover. So this is what I usually do if I'm making both seders. The first night I do soup and I do gefilte fish, and by the second night I don't want that anymore. So so when people come in, I have this big board of all kinds of delicious stuff that people just kind of stand around and eat. But you could totally put it on your table in the middle as like a side dish or an extra dish. And what I love about this recipe is there's nothing in it there's no matzah meal, there's no cake meal. It's just, I could make it every day of the year and it's not something you would expect on Passover. So you take all different vegetables and you just put them in the oven for 10 minutes and brush them with olive oil and salt and pepper. There's salami, and I cut the salami up and I put olives on it, and artichokes, and it's whatever I can buy that is already I have every day in my house. So I'll show you what I made. Hold on one second. And I decorated my island. Larry's gonna plug in the thing. Hi, everybody. Can you see me? Okay. So can you see my board? I don't know. Can you see the charcuterie board? You can't see it. Hold on. Hold on. Larry's helping me. Okay. I can't hear anybody. So this is my charcuterie board or antipasto board. So I have mushrooms, chicken, asparagus, artichokes that came from a jar, cut up salami. I also put pickles and carrots and cucumber as a fresh element. And all you need is olive oil, salt, pepper, and a little cooking spray. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and I do marinate the chicken in Italian dressing that is on the recipe as well. And I have this out on my island where everyone comes in and they just kind of take a nosh around. And once they're happy, we sit down and we have Seder. And then after the Seder, I don't do the soup and the gefilte fish because they've already eaten this, and we go right into the dinner. So I love doing this. I actually do it also for Rosh Hashanah. For the second day of Rosh Hashanah, I always have this board out for when people walk in my house and they just go, oh, it's a antipasto board. And actually I put beets on it as well, because you can get packaged beets that are already roasted for Passover. So there's beets here, olives. I use regular everyday olives because I didn't want to open my Passover jar yet because I want to save that for Passover. I love using a wooden board. This one's not Passover. I have one for Passover. And I don't know if you can see, it's like a Good Seasons Italian dressing. Can you see that from here? It's a Hadar one. It's actually really good. You mix it with a little olive oil and vinegar. Passover vinegar is not the best, so it really hides the taste of it. And if you don't like artichokes, you can't find marinated artichokes, I sub in hearts of palm instead. But this always goes, it's such a hit. When people come over like, oh, this is so great. It's not hard to make. I actually did this morning at 10 o'clock this morning. And we started at 11. So that was it. And I did my hair and makeup right after. So I had plenty of time to prepare this. It was just so easy and it looks beautiful. So the recipe, I think Barbara said, is going to be also on the website. I also put out my display of my Seder plate and some of my favorite cookbooks, wine that we have. I always like to have like a little thing on this will be my centerpiece on my table, would be like bottles of wine or just some flowers. I try to make it look festive, and that's my favorite recipe that everybody loves. It's my antipasto. It is, I call it charcuterie, but I think charcuterie usually means cheese too. So that's it. This is our dinner tonight. Yay.
Phyllis, thank you. I I think everybody, appreciates seeing what you've done. And also, I guess that it's relatively easy to prepare and also looks good all year round. And I liked it when you said, and I don't necessarily need to get matzah or matzah meal.
I actually made this antipasto board. We had one of the rabbinical candidates that came here for Shabbat dinner, and I made it and I put it out when everybody walked in from shul, and literally nobody wanted dinner after that. They were just like, this is, and I couldn't get them to the table. They just stood around this board and kept eating the food on the board. I'm like, this is just the appetizer. Don't get full.
Phyllis, it looks like it's also something that can double as, if you don't want to make the main dinner or meal, that whatever you put in there, you nosh that enough and it's like your meal, and it's less effort thinking.
And you can add whatever you want.
Everybody eats that.
You can add some roasted red peppers to bring in some color. You could put in green olives. You can really put whatever kind of just regular vegetables you like. You could even make it different and skewer everything and put everything on skewers and put it on the board so that people can just pick up a skewer. Because I usually put out, forks and plates and everything with it, but you can use toothpicks and just make little kebabs with everything and just make it a little more, I guess, COVID friendly if you don't want everybody touching the food, and just pick up a skewer and so thank
you, everybody. I need to run. Thank you for sharing all your ideas.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, Phyllis, thank you. There's certainly a lot of room for improvising also in what you made. So that's pretty neat. I think before we go, Helene has, Charlotte, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so I just wanted to say, I'm sorry I missed the tail end. My niece called me from House of Kosher. She said everything there is gluten-free. And she sent me pictures of chocolate brownies and chocolate loaves and all kinds of, well, she said goodies, so I don't know. She sent me, I'm trying to see what else. It's just stacks and stacks of cookies. I don't know if
well, I'm going back.
So anyway, so she said, she said, do you want me to send you more pictures? I said, no, that's fine. So she said, just ask, Okay.
Well, thank you,
It's kind of
Charlotte.
strange they wouldn't have that, but anyhow. And I missed Phyllis's beautiful tray because I didn't get to see the end. I'm sorry. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you. Charlotte, since this has been recorded, you'll be able
I'm going to get to see what I missed. Thank you. Thank you.
Phyllis's demo and explanation of everything that.
Thank you.
Charcuterie. And the recipe also, she sent that into Barbara, so that will also go up eventually under the Passover resources. So I think before we go, Helene has a couple of more fun facts that she'd like to share before we wrap up.
Yes. Okay, next fun fact. Who buys Israel's chametz? Because somebody does. Is it the Vatican, Hussein Jaber, Baron Wilhelm von Schulzenhazer, a consortium which includes Elon Musk and Justin Bieber? I need guesses. What do you think?
The Vatican.
Nope.
No.
Next.
I like number D.
Elon Musk and Justin Bieber and the consortium. No, but I had a good time making it up.
Hussein Jaber.
Excellent. Hussein Jaber, who is an Israeli Arab. He buys all of the chametz from the rabbis and everything from the state of Israel as well. They have a lot of chametz because they're feeding armies and they have cafeterias for their government workers and whatever. All of that gets sold to Hussein Jaber, who buys it for the entire country. And he charges an exorbitant fee every year. And as soon as Passover is over, he tears that up and he gives it all back. So it's just kind of an interesting thing, but that's how they do it. And the next and last one, who was the first US president to host a Seder in the White House? Joe Biden with Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, Franklin Roosevelt, or Abraham Lincoln?
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Yes, yes, that one is an easy one, I guess.
And he did the
Barack Obama.
Hanukkah party too, which they're continuing.
Yes, absolutely. So those are fun facts. And I think we also wanted to have a short commercial interruption here from Phyllis, who wants to talk about the gift shop.
I just want, I know this weird camera thing Larry set up, but I just wanted to remind you to come into the gift shop. If you need anything for Passover, like Seder plates, matzah covers, Kiddush cups, kippot. Also want to put a plug in if you're going shopping to all these stores like Giant, McCaffrey's, and ShopRite, come by Script because we're all going to go shopping, and this way it helps, give my as well. So thank you for your support. And if you want to come into the gift shop, just send me or Rachel or Michelle Flash an email, and one of us will make an appointment with you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do. I also wanted to talk about March 29th, which is coming up. It's Tuesday night at 8 p.m. online on Zoom. We're having a program called Jewish Views of the Afterlife. We're doing this in conjunction with Brothers of Israel, and this is run off of the Brothers of Israel Zoom. Therefore, you have to register ahead of time. So there's a link on our website. If you click on that, it'll get you to a registration link, and you just need to do that. Just sign up. It's free. They'll send you the Zoom link right away, but please do that ahead of time so that you can see that program, because it's quite unique and interesting.
We also have book club coming up this week.
Oh, you're right. Book club coming up this week, and Joan, do you want to talk about that?
We're going to do Eternal, which is a Holocaust book by Lisa Scottolini, who a lot of you know because she writes so much about Philadelphia. But this is her first historic fiction, and I thought it was very good.
Thursday night.
Join us Thursday night.
The night right after Minyan.
Right.
7:45, 8, right in that that sweet spot.
Right.
Thank you, Barbara.
I just want to give a plug to ShopRite in Yardley. They donated all our matzah for the college packages this year. Please, when you go in there, make sure you let them know that you're from Bethel and how much you appreciate everything they do for us during the year. It's not just for Passover, it's barbecue, it's little things during the year that they give to us, and they've been really a good partnership with us. So please make sure you go in there and tell them.
Good to know.
Good to know.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to everyone today for all your contributions and sharing, and I hope everyone found this fun and enjoyable. And some of the resources that we talked about will be up on our website. If you did go shopping, please, as Barbara requested, send some kind of summary of where you went and what you found so we can publish that. And beyond that, just thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming, for sharing food, recipe, traditions, charcuterie boards. I think we all learned some things that we didn't know. And Helene's fun facts. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to forget about those too.
Thank you for putting this together, Arlene.
Thanks, Arlene. This was great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Great job.
Great seeing everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 I thought that went well.
Hi,
Helen. Oh,
Hi,
Helen.
Eileen. Is the friend just sent me an email? Do you know somebody named Eileen Geiger? Is that any family person?
No, I don't.
Well, I'll see you a week from Thursday.
A week from Thursday. Yes, I'll see you then.
Yeah, I knew.
I'm still reading, so
I feel guilty because we don't have a Seder to go to. I was coming home in time to hopefully go up to West Hartford where my son and his family go, but because of COVID, his in-laws are still being extra safe, so they're not having it. But I'll make do and create something, and I'll see you in a week and a half.
Absolutely.
Okay, take care.
Take care. It was nice
Bye.
seeing you. Bye.
I think it went well. I was only staying on for a little post-mortem.
Yeah, me too. I thought it went well. I hope everybody
Yeah.
was satisfied, but I thought, I mean, it's just like, I think it's like this every year where you get different stuff at different places and people always run out. But the fact that they, that thing that Joan was telling us about how they didn't order enough stuff at some of the local places, I think that's really useful to know, because
I think so too. I mean, I hadn't thought about it that way, but she had a different perspective and she asked questions that, maybe none of us did, or we didn't run into a supermarket person ask. And she strikes me as someone who would ask.
yeah, she's thorough. So,
I think people participated, and I think we got a lot of good things going. And I think Ruth asked a good question to get the ball rolling a little bit on the traditions thing. I don't know. I thought it went well. I was pleased.
I did too. I mean, I could imagine doing something similar next year that, now
in person.
Maybe next year would be in person. Exactly. Which would be a lot more fun, because although hard to pull off because of the food. I mean, Barbara really doesn't want to be opening up a kitchen right now, but we could do something. We could bring in and using, or maybe if the weather is good, if Passover is a little later next year or something, maybe we could even do something outdoor.
Maybe do something in the middle of Passover in the whole Hamoed part, where maybe people just get together. The synagogue's kosher for Passover. If people want to bring in kosher for Passover things,
they won't let you during Passover.
Oh, they won't.
We can do a get together with no food.
But
okay. That's it. They will not let you. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're, they go to great lengths to kosher it all, and then.
Okay, didn't know,
but who knows, we'll have a new sheriff in town, so maybe we'll have new rules.
I don't know. But, or, even if we did something beforehand, what we were talking about earlier about putting some light snacks. I mean, you don't, as you said, you don't have to be elaborate all the time. And sometimes some light snacks of fruit and, hey, taste some kosher macaroons, or, for Passover macaroons, or something else that's simple, along with things to drink, coffee, tea, water, fruit, and something Passover-y that you could say, hey, have a taste test. We'll bring in macaroons, or we'll bring in something else that's simple. Simple is good. And sharing is also good. And when you're together, I don't know, maybe there's ways to build off on this, or to do similar things again. I don't know, but I did have my notes, so I was trying to move it along.
You can try. I mean, we have different possibilities. We can. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be nice for the rabbinical schmoozes, the Sunday morning schmoozes. They had some leftover cookies from whatever that was on Saturday. They had bagels and cream cheese, and then they had a big bowl of the small tangerines, the mandarins, and those things flew. I mean, people really like them. They're very COVID friendly. You take one and you peel it yourself. And and you won't eat the inside, right? So it's it's pretty sanitary. But something like that we could certainly do. So some macaroons and a bowl of tangerines. You don't have any cutting up. There's no.
I mean,
nothing.
That, or grapes or something. Fruit. Fruit. Thinking back on a couple of Sisterhood things from years ago. Sometimes fruit and cookies or something. If you're gonna, when it wasn't Passover, but if you're going to do something easy, it was like, well, you can always pick up a fruit tray, and you can always pick up, some kind of kosher chocolate chip cookies or something like that that's easy to bring, because, so similar to in a similar vein to what you said about the little tangerines, the macaroons, just simple is good. elaborate doesn't have to happen all the time. Easy to clean up is good. And, doing something in person, maybe we'll be able to do that. I thought the turnout was fairly decent for this sort of thing.
The turnout was good.
I thought that, that's good for us.
I know it. We worked at it. We sent a lot of personal messages. So
Right, I saw you sent one to whomever, and I got one from
Charlotte
Scott this morning.
Yeah. So, and I don't know whether Sisterhood sent out their own mailing list or not. I
don't know, because I
not
think I'm
sure.
in Sisterhood, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
any-
am too, but I didn't get anything specific, but they just,
Is Phyllis running the gift shop? Because for so long, it used to be Michelle running the gift shop, and she did the buying, but
she and Rachel are running the gift shop.
Phyllis
I
and
think
Rachel?
Michelle is doing the buying,
okay.
but they're running it. So
Ah.
maybe they tell her what to buy or whatever. So,
Okay.
and it looks like the inventory has freshened up, which is nice. It's a little maybe younger and more interesting.
Okay. That's
So,
good.
yeah. So,
Um,
it's an improvement. Things are going well, I think. I mean, this year, a lot of things happen. A lot of people are trying to breathe some fresh air, which
Mhm.
is desperately needed. So
It's good. Well, the pandemic kind of, you're thinking about how do I adapt and what do I do because I can't do what I used to do. And you're bogged down in that. And okay, the pandemic's going to be here and it's here. And, we're transitioning to some changes depending, but, maybe people are now thinking about, like you said, the fresh ideas. What can they buy for the gift shop now that maybe they can have a better chance of buying things? Are things in stock? Can they think about new items? Because maybe more people want to go and buy them versus before. So yeah. Kind of.
So the last one in this foodie series that we had is coming up, I guess, in it was scheduled originally, I think, in May. And that was deli versus deli, which I thought, was a cute idea. But at this point, I'm thinking we should
want to
skip
push it off?
I think we should maybe next year. And let's leave that for this year, because it's just, the hope was that maybe we'd be able to actually go out to a restaurant together. And I just don't see it this year, as so many people are reluctant still.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And even if you're gathering in small groups of your friends, like going to your friend's house, but it's a small group and they're vaccinated, or you're going to a restaurant, but you're not doing it this often as you used to be, or you're eating outside now that, once it starts to get nicer, or, when Bill and I were in Hilton Head, okay, yeah, well, we are going to go in restaurants and they're not all outside, but, we had just been boosted and we figured, okay, a couple of times we ate in the condo,
yeah.
And that's the beauty of being in a condo, is that you can do those things. But, you're just taking it at, it's different. So I agree with you about the deli versus deli. I had sort of forgotten about it, but I think that's a good thing. And we just won't, advertise it going forward. We'll hold it on. Sometimes 2 is good,
Yeah, 2 is fine.
Like a foodie thing,
we still,
nice, 2 worked.
Yeah, we still have kind of hanging out there. I haven't done anything about it, but the idea of the ethical kashrut thing,
Mhm.
because with Beth Sadoff, she was interested in that.
She was.
And it's just a matter of bringing it up and then figuring out what we want to do. And then when I said something about that to Rabbi Weiss, she said if we were doing it, she'd like to be involved in that one too, because she's very interested in that topic.
So maybe we focus on that.
Maybe so, if we want to do another foodie thing. So that gives us an alternative thing.
Yeah.
And then we have a bunch of other stuff that's kind of hanging out there, and I just needed to get this one done before.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's funny because it's like, it feels like a lot when you're focusing on it. It's not that terrible in terms of what there is to do. Like, okay, I had to look at my calendar to find my shopping day, but it was like, okay, fine. And I sat down a little bit beforehand and put together what I needed to do to be moderator. But it's still a lot of planning
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the time just to meet and get it right, even though it's, relatively speaking, there are more complicated things, but still, pulling it off takes work and time.
So we had a development, by the way, with the film club, which
Oh,
was a
wow.
really good development. Well, you remember in December for Hanukkah, there was a Hanukkah film festival that was that we sponsored, but it was really easy to do. And, like,
Oh, we put the link to that place, that film festival, and you had to buy some films. Yes.
right. So now they have one that's for Yom HaAtzmaut, which is coming up in April, May. I forget exactly what the date is,
Oh.
but anyway, it's coming up. So they have the same program, but this is more about Israel.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, that sounds good. And I got into conversation with Rich Oring, who's running the Israel committee, and they haven't had a single program this year because they wanted to do things in person. They couldn't do things in person, so they were just at a loss for what to do. So I emailed him and said, you want to do this? It has the following benefits. It costs nothing. It takes absolutely no time. We'll put, the film club and the Israel committee as the co-sponsors. That's all we have to do. And
then
it
people
just goes in our
sign up,
publicity.
and it's
Yeah.
advertising for it, just create a poster or flyer. So what did you say?
They give us the advertising. All we have to do is put our stuff on the top of it, and then Barbara just runs it. So he said, well, yeah. So film club and Israel committee are sponsoring this. Yeah, I know it. This is
work, and
no work. I mean,
register. What did you do? Pay in advance or something? Or
I think you pay in advance, and I forget how much it costs, and there are this time 9 films available.
God, what a lot.
And yeah, and they look interesting. So there'll be something, with the list of the films and trailers for each film and stuff like that. Will be all in the advertising.
Okay,
perfect. But we don't have to do a thing. This was my kind of program.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
That'll work. And then, some of these things we don't do, it's kind of nice. We kind of segue into next year. The film club didn't quite work out exactly what we thought it would be, but
next year we have hopefully a different opportunity. The theory of the film club was supposed to be that people could get together in their own little groups and go see the film, whatever the film was. It would be something that was playing in the local theaters. Didn't have to have a Jewish theme particularly. It could be anything that we decided we wanted to do. They could go see it during, they have like 2 months to see it, and then they show up on the day of the discussion and we talk about, did you see it? Did you like it? And that was going to be it. And I think the point of it was to create more social interaction opportunities for
more
people
bonding.
who wanted, bonding, but people who wanted to have smaller groups. And then the idea was, okay, you went maybe with the one person you knew for the first film, but then you went to the discussion. It turned out there were 3 other people, and then you said, okay, well, if you're going next time, count me in, let's go together. So you kind of broaden your circle of friends, and that way. So it seemed like it was an opportunity to do that, but
see how that
just
works
didn't.
for the fall and what things are like. And to that end, even whether, it's also getting to know someone better. If you know someone because you see them in certain contexts, but now they join the film club, maybe go see a film and go out for coffee afterwards or something.
Exactly.
It's social, or someone and you go because you know them, but like you said, you meet up, or people say, well, there's 4 of us and we all want to go, so let's pick a day. So
I think there are good opportunities. Yeah, it just needs to evolve, but the Zoom is nice and useful for a lot of things, but people really are tired of it. So.
Well, and the socialization is more when you're in person.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think sometimes people may get to know one another a little bit through Zoom, but it's not the same. They might not think, I see this person on Zoom at various things, but they might not think I'd like to go get a cup of coffee or go see a film. And they don't think of that person I see on Zoom often, but you're still not thinking of socializing with that person.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't even know where they live or where they hang out, or, you know, it's a different thing. Yeah.
It's different. And, you know, sometimes I think people think, like, I live in Holland, but I know how to go to places like in Yardley. I mean, it's not like I can't go meet somebody in Yardley, you know, and plus I think when you live a little bit out of the way, you make an effort to know if more people in the synagogue live closer to, say, Yardley or even Newtown. I do know about those places. And just because I've lived in Holland or Feasterville or Ben Salem, which are all the towns I've lived in since I've been here, that doesn't mean I don't know how to find something or wouldn't mind, how do I find this place? You know, but people don't think that way. Sometimes people think, oh, I can't invite this person because they don't live in Yardley or something. You know, sometimes people think
maybe
narrowly geographically, just from other things I've heard people say about where they live. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you live in Ben Salem and you don't know where to go in Yardley, or it seems far from you. Well, Google Maps, take a look. You can figure this out. It's not far. It's Bucks County. You know, you might have to travel 20 minutes, but I just thinking
you can do it.
People say over the years, like, oh, well, Yardley, it's so far. No, you know, and it's not like you're driving on a major road. And, you know, if you know how to, you can go places. But I think people sometimes just focus narrowly without realizing that it's not that far, or vice versa, Yardley to Ben Salem. Well, okay, but, you know, it's not that far. You know, just in thinking where people live here, because it's not just me that lives at places. We have people that live in Ben Salem and other spots, and, you know, just thinking of things I've heard over time about geography and people's aversion to it, or maybe not aversion, but maybe uncertainty. Whereas, you know, I just think, hey, it's Bucks County. You know, I'll go Google it. I'll figure out how to get there. So you never know. But
next year should be an interesting year. Hopefully.
New rabbi, different things, hopefully health-wise, but, you
hopefully
know.
Post-pandemic would be nice, but who knows?
It would be, but, you know, just the nature of it, something's always going to come up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more a matter of how people deal with it, what's available. You know, I'm seeing things about, you know, boosters for, first I saw 65 and over, okay. And then I saw something
50.
about somebody wants to, one of them maybe it's Moderna wants to recommend 50.
Both of them. The news yesterday was that the White House is supposed to come out this coming week, recommending that boosters be made available for people over 50, but not required. So it's if you want it. And they still have to get the FDA to endorse that idea, and then the CDC, but they wouldn't be coming out with that, I'm figuring, if they didn't think that they could get
Works
that.
for me, I'll go. Gives me peace of mind, you know?
Me too.
I mean, it's like the flu vaccine to me. You know, if you get it, you shouldn't get it so bad. It's not preventing it. And, you know, anywho, we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. But anyway, so supposedly this week or the week after, they would actually have the stamp of approval on that, and then it would be possible to go, I guess, and not have to tell people you're immunocompromised, if, you know, because you can get it now, but you have to say that you're immunocompromised.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and one of the things the White House said was that this is just bowing to reality, because people are already doing this. They're just saying that, you know, they need it when and they do, but you know, they're just
if you're immunocompromised, you don't take the booster as well as someone who is not.
Well,
So
but
you need the extra.
they defined immunocompromised very narrowly. So this way it widens out, because I mean, as you said, if you're over 65 or if you're over 50 and you feel you need that peace of mind because of other activities you're doing, this allows you to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just realistic. If it's available, we should be allowed to get it.
I mean, heck, I go see my mother and sister, and granted, they're in places where, yeah, I went to visit them and I have to wear my mask. Okay. Meanwhile, my mother and sister weren't wearing theirs, but I was wearing mine.
That's, you know, that's,
But
that's
they're
that's
in
the way it
places
works.
where, you know what, I want to be careful too.
Yeah, yeah.
I go there, so, you know, and so.
Makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you
All
so
right.
much. I
You're
thought this was
welcome.
wonderful. Terrific moderating.
Thank you.
You're a natural. So
Oh, I have, it's been a long time, you know, I've done stuff like this, whether, you know, but it's just been a while, you know.
you seem very comfortable with it.
Actually, I am. I mean, I have taken some public speaking, like type course type things and done some of that. So I don't mind it. I just have to get myself ready and in the frame of mind, you know.
Yeah.
And if it's a format I feel comfortable with, I am not moderating a presidential debate. No, thank you, or anything like that. But, you know.
I don't want to have a loaded pistol with me. Or a mute button would be also nice.
Give that person a mute button.
That would change things a lot. Well, anyway, I gotta run,
go.
but thank you so much. And
You're welcome. Are we
have a great
meeting
rest of the weekend.
Wednesday adult ed?
Wednesday adult ed, but Monday afternoon is it 2?
Oh, Monday at the library, right? Because I should be home from a medical appointment I have and back in time to come home, have lunch and hop over to the library, which is why I gave myself the 2:30.
2:30? Okay.
Yeah, because I have like a 55-minute ride back from where I'm going. I need to go home first. So I'm like, let me backtrack on this. But that's
Sounds
right.
good.
I will see you at the library on Monday.
Yep.
Okay. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.